Wesley and Will.
Welcome to another episode of The Other Side. I'm Wesley.
I'm Will.
And before we get started, I want to give a quick shout out to the Bearded Sinners. They operate out of Gillette, Wyoming. They do community work at soup kitchens. They help out their community. So if you get a chance, they got a Facebook page. Check it out.
Fuck cancer.
Great bunch of guys. So this is our summertime halftime report. There are so many movies coming out this summer. We figured we'd cover what worked for us, what we liked, what we didn't like, and what's still to come. Kicking off with Civil War, otherwise known as the movie that kicked Batman vs. Superman in the teeth.
And obliterated the X-Men, I think, at the same time. Civil War, so far for me, has definitely been the best movie of the summer.
Yes.
Smart of them to start off in May, even though it seems like our summer movies releases get earlier, before long, middle of April will be our summer movie releases. But Civil War, to me, just stole the show.
Yes.
And it set a new standard. It's like, they did such a great job with this many characters in this movie. Mm-hmm. I have no problems with Infinity Gauntlet.
Yeah, and that's where Civil War for me really succeeded, was you had your central conflict, which was a conflict that you genuinely cared about, because you've been watching these characters for a while, but they used all of their cameos. They weren't distracting. Every cameo served a purpose. Spider-Man was there, he did his thing. Ant-Man was there, did his thing, and then they were just kind of pushed to the side. That's the correct way to shove a bunch of people into one movie, and it caused a great schism in the superhero community in the Marvel world, which we will obviously be addressed going forward. I'm wondering if they make an Ant-Man 2, is he an outlaw?
I know, it's the same thing I thought.
It's very interesting things moving forward.
Black Panther, Spider-Man.
Panther was awesome.
Marvel fixed Spider-Man in just, 10 minutes? 10 minutes of film, they fixed him.
Yeah.
Alice Through the Looking Glass. Waste of freaking time. I don't know what was wrong with Johnny Depp. I don't know if he decided he was going to stuff more mush in his mouth while he was trying to act, but it sucked. It was a waste of time. A lot of the story of Through the Looking Glass was put in the first Alice in Wonderland movie, so that's why they got kind of screwed up and their story went nowhere, and it didn't matter. The movie's garbage.
Yeah, Tim Burton, I think, just needs to take some time off and get back to his Beetlejuice, Edward Scissorhand days, where he was doing things that were original and not just taking existing properties and putting his own artistic spin on them.
Yeah, don't care.
Yeah.
X-Men Apocalypse, though.
X-Men Apocalypse. Once again, not as good as Civil War, but a good movie. I enjoyed the characters. I liked Apocalypse.
Mm-hmm.
I thought that he pulled that off very well. I thought he looked all right. He had the attitude that I would expect Apocalypse to have. Both being ruthless and feeling fully justified in his actions, even though his actions were horrific. I didn't like the fact that Quicksilver didn't tell Magneto his father. That Magneto was his father. I thought that would have been a good point for Magneto to engage Apocalypse in the fight. And speaking of the final fight, very underwhelming. But I had seen Captain America and the Winter Soldier fight Iron Man, so that probably,
You're referring to Magneto and Apocalypse.
Yeah, and I had read Age of Apocalypse, so...
the Magneto Age of Apocalypse series is Apocalypse basically takes over the world, and then Magneto is one of the heroes fighting for, all of us little people, and he takes on Apocalypse at the end of that comic series, and it's an epic battle. I thought we were going to get that. We didn't get that. But the one thing that I did notice, that Apocalypse being, so godlike, and he can destroy anybody, after a while, he got kind of boring.
Yeah.
So it made me think of going back to the Marvel Universe. If Thanos, maybe they should introduce the Death character, his love interest, to kind of give him something else to do, to give him his Achilles heels, I guess, because with that glove, he's supreme power. And I just thought after a while, Apocalypse was kind of boring. But.
Yeah, and it did, for me, also at the end of X-Men Apocalypse, spoiler, with the Phoenix showing up and destroying him, made me wonder if going forward in the X-Men movies, they're going to redo the Dark Phoenix and do it properly.
Right.
Or if it was an illusion, because I didn't figure it was an allusion to X-Men 3, because that timeline no longer exists in the X-Men universe.
Yeah.
So for me, I took it as they're going to redo the Dark Phoenix. Teenage Mutant Ninja, fucking stop making these movies.
It wasn't as horrible if you watched it. If enjoyed the cartoons when you were younger, which I did, and collected the action figures and stuff, it was fun. There was not a lot of ninja stuff for the turtles to do. They spent a lot of time running
wasn't
around.
a lot of ninja stuff in the first one.
Yeah, but the relationship between the brothers was pretty cool. You know, it's a good kids flick. I thought it was definitely worth it.
Okay, well,
It was fun.
I'm just, no.
And then, like, one of the greatest horror movies.
The Conjuring,
Conjuring
2,
2.
yes. Excellent horror movie.
I thought it was just as good
difficult
as the first
difficult to do a good horror movie follow-up. Usually a good horror movie is a standalone. The sequels usually water it down, but I did enjoy The Conjuring 2. Even though I have a really hard time seeing Vera Farmington and not thinking of Norma. I'm not think she's Norma Bates to me. So it was very difficult.
Where's Norman?
Yeah, it's very, very difficult to get my head around, she's playing this character because she just, But yeah, it was a great movie. Had some genuine
Totally worth it.
chills in it.
Yeah, Civil War and Conjuring 2 are my two favorites so far this summer.
It was very good.
And then Finding Dory.
Yes, the sequel
Totally worth
that
it.
took forever to come to be.
I loved it.
But it was a good movie. Was it worth the hype? Well, that's up to you. Or was it worth the wait? That's up to you to decide. But entertaining movie, good kids movie. Another sequel that came out this summer, Now You See Me 2. If you never saw Now You See Me, it's about a group of magicians that rip off this really rich guy, and they're invited to join this club of basically people who do this shit all the time. And as far as sequels go, it builds on the original. You have character development. It has some interesting stuff in it. I thought it was a fun time. It was a good movie. Like Mark Ruffalo, he does a great job as always. And I like they brought back Morgan Freeman, which, you could read me a phone book and I'd be entertained. And Michael Caine comes back. Best part was Daniel Radcliffe playing the villain. Because the more I see of this kid post Harry Potter, after seeing Horns, and after even seeing him in Victor Frankenstein, he's got some range, and I'm interested to see what Radcliffe's going to do moving forward. I think he's going to, I think he'll be one of the few child actors to be able to break out of that child role that he played for so long.
Right on.
And then, what's coming up? Well, obviously there's a bunch of...
Well, tomorrow I want to run off and see Independence Day. So
I haven't seen Independence Day yet either. It's got trashed quite a bit, but I'll leave my mind open going into it.
I love the first one, so I gotta give this one a shot.
Exactly, gotta give it a shot.
But Ghostbusters coming out this weekend.
Yeah, coming up, Ghostbusters.
What are you gonna call?
Bunch of controversy surrounding this movie. Fans aren't happy about it, and Sony is claiming that it is the, I can't remember the exact quote, but basically the misogynistic geek fans that are against this movie because of an all-female cast. Now, I'll give my impression first here. I'm not a fan of this movie. I love the cast. Melissa McCarthy, funny in everything that I've ever seen her in. I'm just sick of reboots. There's actually a lot of reboots I like. RoboCop wasn't a bad remake. I didn't think it was. Mm-hmm. But it didn't have to exist because the first one was better. Right. Nightmare on Elm Street wasn't a bad remake.
Original was better.
But the original was better. Total Recall, if it stood on its own, would be fine. Even The Karate Kid with Jaden Smith, which I said on an earlier episode talking about reboots and remakes, I like that movie a lot. But it doesn't need to exist because the original Karate Kid tells a timeless story. It doesn't matter that it's set in the 80s. You don't need to update it because everybody can identify with that story. And same thing with Ghostbusters. You're not going to add anything new. Your ghosts, and that's my main problem with this movie, your ghosts look like video game characters from Pixels. It's not going to be scary.
This is a Ghostbusters ghost, and this is a Haunted Mansion's ghost.
Yeah, and some of the humor looks very Pixels humor, which some people might enjoy. I don't. Write fucking jokes. I haven't seen a joke in the trailers that I've seen.
No, my things, it's been the same forever. A few reboots was fine and remakes, but now, it's overdone.
Yeah, exactly.
It's overdone. It's time to I won't go and see them anymore. It's not because of, a lady cast. It's just, I want to see original stories, okay?
Yeah, because I thought Bridesmaids was a great movie, and that was a predominantly female cast. That has nothing to do with it. But a lot of people love this property, and a lot of people understand that we're never going to get Ghostbusters 3. You know, Ghostbusters fans wanted Ghostbusters 3 for the longest time. Then, you know, with the sad passing of Harold Ramis, we reconciled that movie is never going to happen. And then here comes this reboot that, to be honest, as a fan of Ghostbusters, I don't want it. Yeah. I don't want to see it.
So, we're over that, but still, so many summer movies coming down the pipe. And how could I forget Suicide Squad will be coming out next month. I can't wait. So that's our little summer movie rundown. Trying to catch up. We'll do the second half after I run to see Independence Day.
Half more.
Yeah. So this is The Other Side. We're out.